So on to the divisional round preview. There's going to be 4 games, 4 awesome games. Let's start out with the first one. The Bengals versus Titans. The Titans are 3.5-point favorites in this one. Fun fact, the Bengals beat the Titans 31-20 in 2020, Joe Burrow's rookie season. The Bengals, with the roster they don't have now, beat the Titans, so maybe that takes you take that into account in your answer. So what do you think about this game? What do you think is going to happen, and who do you think is going to win?
Another fun fact, Zach Taylor coached Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, for 12 seasons.
Both at college and at A&M and in Miami. Didn't know that. So when I'm looking at this game, the biggest question right away from the Titans side is, what is Derrick Henry going to look like? He looked really good in practice. He had a contact practice, they called it. I saw some highlights on Twitter of him just kind of running through guys, and he looked like Derrick Henry. I mean, he looked damn good. So I'm over doubting Derrick Henry. I think he's going to come in. He's going to get 20-plus touches. He's going to look really good. And while the Bengals' rush defense on paper has been really good this season, they were especially from weeks 13 to this last playoff game, they let up only 100-yard rusher, or total 100 yards. So their rush defense has been really solid all year, but they have a ton of injuries that they just sustained in this previous game. Larry Ogunjobi and Mike Daniels have already both been ruled out, and one of their top backups as well, Josh Tupou, I'm 100% butchering that, is also questionable. And then Trey Hendrickson, too, is also dealing with concussion. So their entire defensive line has been pretty much depleted for this game. And if all of these players are going to be out, plus you're getting Derrick Henry you're going to have to go against, I know they've been great all season, but you're missing 3-4 starters. It's going to be really hard to stop them. In terms of their passing attack, A.J. Brown, not worried about. Julio had a really good Week 18 game, 50 yards and a touchdown. This is the best he's looked in a while. And there was also a couple other plays where he was open where Ryan Tannehill kind of just missed him. Hasn't had the best season this year. But then when I look at the Bengals side of things, it's going to rely on Joe Burrow, just like a majority of the season has. He's been magnificent over this last month of the season. I mentioned earlier, he's made me eat my words. He's 100% a tier 1 quarterback who can, overcome basically anything and lead his team and backpack his team. Jamar Chase, doesn't matter what you do, he's going to get his unless you're just going to completely double cover him on some Cooper Kupp, Arizona stuff where they're saying, we don't care what happens, you're not beating us. So if the Bengals want to win this game, they're going to have to get pressure. I'm sorry, if the Titans want to win this game, they're going to have to get pressure on Joe Burrow. And I don't see that as difficult because the Bengals offensive line this year has been atrocious. They let up the most sacks in the NFL, while the Titans were tied for the 9th most sacks in the NFL. I think it's going to be a really solid game. I just look at the Titans. They're the healthier team. They've been able to get after the quarterback. So I got them winning over the Bengals. Relatively low scoring. Got them winning 20-17.
This stinks because I like both these rosters. I love Derrick Henry. I like what's going on over in Cincinnati. Unfortunately, I just don't think the Bengals have enough to overcome what's going on in Tennessee. I think Tennessee is one of the best well-coached teams in the NFL. Mike Vrabel does an excellent job year in, year out, and he needs more praise. We say it every single week. We talk about the Titans because the fact they were able to stay afloat without Derrick Henry, without A.J. Brown, without Julio Jones, without a great offensive line by any means in terms of pass blocking, they've still been able to win games, and not just win games, be the number 1 seed in the AFC. So that's all credit to what they have going on in Tennessee, specifically with Mike Vrabel. To break down this game, you mentioned all the injuries that they have to that defensive line. If Derrick Henry's back, it's about to be a field day. Hendrickson, I think, will play. Concussions, I know that they're 50-50 on. But come playoff time, I think they'll clear Trey, especially the fact that he is their best defensive line player. I think he will play, and obviously he will leave his mark on a game. He's a special ball player. And I'm happy for him because they were doubting him. They were saying he was probably the most risky free agent signing at the defensive line position. He came in this season. He absolutely did his thing. So shout out to him. But you're going against Derrick Henry, the best running back in football. And regardless of whether he's coming back this first week and we're going to see him be a little bit rusty, star players come alive in big moments, and Derrick Henry is one of those guys. Derrick Henry is a future Hall of Fame running back. He is the best running back of our generation. If you want to count AP, I'll push back. I'll say Adrian Peterson's better than him if you want to count him part of our generation. But Derrick Henry's right behind him, in my opinion at least. And I just think with A.J. Brown, with Derrick Henry, with Ryan Tannehill has done an excellent job this year of being a game manager, and I would think he will continue to do so against the Bengals. where the Bengals really they looked dominant to a degree against the Raiders. It got ugly. And the Raiders have been hot, and of course they've been playing really good football, but it was not the most safe win by the Bengals. And this was at home with all their fans going absolutely crazy. This is their first win in 31 years. So they had a lot going with them in this game to help them feel a little bit extra motivated, to give them that momentum to beat the Raiders. However, now they're going into the Titans. They're going into Tennessee against a great Titans, a great, well-disciplined team. I just think that they're going to have difficulties moving the ball a little bit. I think Joe Burrow will have a great game given the fact that I'm not in love with their secondary, but I think Joe Mixon might struggle on the ground. That front line that the Titans have is for real. Jeffrey Simmons is arguably top 3 defensive tackles in the league. I think I would have Jones over him and obviously Aaron Donald, but other than that, he's probably right there with those guys. I think it'll be tough for the Bengals to assert themselves the way that they've asserted themselves against other teams, and especially in Tennessee, it's going to be tough. So my score prediction, I don't think it's high scoring also. I think I'm going to lean 24-21 Tennessee.
This is the toughest game for me to pick a winner for. Man, this is tough for me. I'm almost tearing up as I say this.
Getting emotional.
The season the Bengals have had, to win their first playoff game since 1991, a text message wasn't even invented at that point. It wasn't even the first text message wasn't even sent at that point.
Send that text.
What Joe Burrow has done, breaking records in his second year, what Jamar Chase has done, what Zach Taylor has done, it makes me emotional. And I love Cincy. I love their uniforms. I love their helmets. I love Joe Burrow. He's, man, I would love to shake his hand one day. I love Auden Tate.
Of course.
My mind is telling me no. My body's telling me yes. It's just super difficult for me to pick the Bengals in this one.
It's tough. I wanted to pick them. I really do. I love the narrative.
Joe Burrow in his last 5 games has 344 yards per game. Has thrown 13 touchdowns to 0 picks. But Ryan Tannehill's been playing efficient. In his last 3 games, 205 yards per game. Yeah, the yards don't scream out at you, but 7 touchdowns to 0 picks, completing 73% of his passes. He's been very efficient. Larry Ogunjobi went out for the Bengals, who finished top 3 with the Bengals in tackles for lost, quarterback hits, and sacks. He's a huge impact player. The Titans have forced 8 turnovers in their last 3 home games against the Dolphins, Niners, and Jaguars. I understand versus the Jaguars and Dolphins is not that impressive because they didn't face great quarterbacks or a great team. But the Niners, yeah, it's very impressive because they're a contender. The Titans have 93 quarterback hits this season. Jeffrey Simmons, Harold Landry, Danico Autry have 15 plus. You mentioned Zach Taylor's history with Ryan Tannehill. I really don't give a damn about that. I don't think that does anything for the outcome of this game. I think it's just a cool fact. The Bengals this year have beaten the Chiefs, Raiders, and Steelers. Those are the 3 playoff teams they've beaten. And the Chiefs are the only great win in that. I don't think the Raiders and Steelers were a great win. They lost to the Niners. They lost to the Packers. You look at the Titans. They have beaten the Colts twice. You picked them to make the Super Bowl.
Jeez, how did this turn into this, bro?
They beat the Bills, who are the hottest team in football, arguably. They beat the Chiefs. They beat the Rams and embarrassed Stafford in prime time.
Couldn't beat the Jets.
The Niners, when they were at their hottest, Thursday Night Football, they beat them too without Julio.
That was crazy.
I don't even know if Julio did play. I'm not sure. I know A.J. Brown did play, though.
Julio played. He left the game.
The Titans' defense is ranked 25th pass defense-wise, but they're 7th in touchdowns, which means that in the red zone, they are very great. They don't break. They bend, but they don't break. And they're 6-1 when both Julio and A.J. Brown play. Even if Derrick Henry was out, I probably would have leaned Titans just because Deontay Foreman has been that great. You look at the Titans offensively, there really hasn't been a drop-off in yards per attempt and efficiency-wise when Henry's been out. The key guys are really Julio and AJ when they're out, and especially AJ. When AJ's out there, Tannehill, his passing down the field, it just skyrockets. His efficiency skyrockets. I have the winner written down here as the Titans. But as I'm saying this, my heart is swaying me in a different direction.
I can understand.
Joe Burrow, we've talked about it. He's the fourth best young quarterback in the NFL.
He is.
He's better than Ryan Tannehill. That offense is explosive. T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd didn't even get involved versus the Raiders. It's going to be tough going into an away atmosphere like Tennessee. Like that is going to be a tough game on the road. This is so tough for me. Man, I knew this was going to be this pick to me was a game time decision on the show. I knew I wrote down the Titans, but something is telling me I can't doubt Joe Burrow twice. I doubted him last week. I can't doubt him twice. I'm picking Cincinnati to win this game.
I respect it.
I'm picking Joe Burrow, Joe Cool.
Like it.
I'm picking Jamar Chase. I'm picking that defense. I know that it's not outstanding, but I think their run defense is pretty good. I think they can maintain Henry somewhat. Defensively, I like their corners in Awuzie and Hilton. Those are pretty good corners. Hilton can do a good job on their receivers. I think Awuzie is pretty good. Jesse Bates has really been playing better as of late.
He has.
Logan Wilson is a very good coverage linebacker. My heart is going with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going with Cincy. Who say who they gonna beat them Bengals? Who they? Who they gonna beat them Bengals? Who they?
Love it, bro.
Who gonna beat them Bengals?
It's a good pick.
Who gonna beat them Bengals?
Titans, unfortunately, man.
Who gonna beat them
The
Bengals?
Titans to win, personally.
I don't want them
to win.
I would love to see Joe Burrow, but I just think those injuries to the defensive line.
Being an analyst kind of stinks.
I will say this, though.
I think it's just too because I've been down the Titans all year.
When Derrick Henry...
Honestly, that's the reason why I went Titans, too. I'm tired of doubting them. They have been week in, week out proving teams wrong.
When Derrick Henry went out, I said that the Titans are done. They will probably get out the first round or lose in the first round of the playoffs. They got the bye week. But I'm sticking with my guns, man. I don't care that I doubted them.
Your gun said Titans, man.
I'm picking the Bengals.
All right.
Who gonna beat them Bengals? Who they?
What's the score?
I think the score is... I'll give a weird score.
Okay.
26 to 19.
Ironically, that was the score of the Raiders game and
It
the
was.
Bengals.
No, wait, it was?
It was.
I'm switching my score. I'm switching my score. It's too ridiculous. 23 to 16.
Okay. Joe Mixon, man, he's been sketchy lately. Like, he hasn't surpassed 65 yards in the last, 5 weeks.
Yeah, Burrow's just been...
He's been backpacking. Yeah. But 17 attempts, 46 yards
I will say this.
Against a rush defense that's not really good.
I will say this. It took Joe Burrow a little bit more than halfway through the season to truly feel comfortable in his knee. And you saw the difference in his movement and his slipperiness, his slitherness in the pocket, escaping guys, just smooth. I think that he's just playing at a different level, and he's an elite quarterback.
He is.
I think look, the Bengals have never won a road playoff game in their history as a franchise. Joe Burrow and that team has already shown they've done the impossible. They've done things the Bengals have never done. Who they gonna beat them Bengals? Who they?
You see why he wasn't bragging about their first playoff win? Because it's about to be the new norm. It was so hard to choose Tennessee, man.
It was.
So hard.
The Bengals have the cool factor.
They're so cool.
Sure. They are.
I hope Tennessee loses. I hope I'm wrong.
You're going against your guy, Derrick Henry, though, bro.
That's why I can't do it. I can't do it.
Right.
I hope I'm wrong, though.
What's Derrick Henry's stat line?
80 at least.
Okay.